Hey friends, welcome to Createful Art. Today I am on the Puget Sound in La Conner, Washington, and there's a beautiful sunset just right over there on the ocean with some mountains in the background. It's awesome. I just want to show you how to paint this today. Thank you so much for watching and painting along with me. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can learn how to paint some more. So for this first step, I'm choosing just 5 colors. I've got my metallic gold, my cadmium yellow hue, my white, black, and my brilliant blue. For this next step, I'm going to start with the sky. I'm going to use my flat wash brush, is what it's called. And I'm just going to grab some of my blue here, and I'm going to add it to the top of my sky. Okay, and I'm going to go across like this. Now I'm going to take my white with some of the blue, and I'm just going to start making a gradient going across. Okay, and then I'm going to start gradually going up with my gradient. Okay, there you can see the color a little bit better now. And I'm going to add white throughout here. So go back and make sure you have plenty of paint on your brush. Okay, and then I'm just going to slightly go up, side to side. Right? If you want your painting to be well blended, then you just keep going side to side until you feel like it's blended enough for you. Now I'm going to grab my yellow, and the brightest spot is this where the sun is at. That is right here in the center. Okay, and I'm just going to go out from there like this. Okay, and the more that I do this, the more it'll blend. Okay, and you'll notice that it doesn't make the color underneath it green. That's because there's not enough blue in that color to really make it look green. Okay, I'm actually going to go up on this color like this and blend it in this way. You know how I just went over that? I can always go over that with white, just so that I can do this a little bit better. Okay, and this is going to make it appear like it's glowing. Okay, so just bring that yellow down. Blend it into that blue. So when you grab up here, that blue is going to go on your brush. Okay, and so sometimes I go back and I take off the blue. Okay, and then for the rest, I'm just going to go right across this top right here, slightly. And then when we go back over, we're going to dry brush over the top. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Just really, like hardly any pressure at all. Really lightly. And then take off the paint. Come back over it. Okay. And then I'm going to add that white spot back where it was at. Try to keep the texture a little bit less, just because we're going to be going over that. Okay. Alright. So that's that step. So for this step, we're going to create the mountains that are off in the distance, and as they get closer, they're going to increase in value. I can create a gray over here with my yellow, okay, and some white. Decide if I like that one a little bit more. See how it's a little different. Let's decrease the value here quite a bit. And I'm just going to be using my reference photo to figure out where these mountains are in the background. And all my Createful Art members on Patreon get my reference photos. You can click right here or down in the description. Okay, and I'm just going to follow that picture, create that mountain right underneath the sun, like that. Okay, there's a bump right over here. And then I like to pull down like this, because then the next layer comes in, and this sometimes lightens it to where it needs to be. Okay, then I add a little bit more black to my palette here. Okay, this is going to be the next level, okay? Probably a little less than that. And still there's quite a bit of yellow in there. Okay, so I check usually to see if this is the right value that I want, and it is. So I'm just looking at my reference photo and I'm following what it looks like. There's a lot more trees here, so I'm just going to kind of go sideways with my brush here to give it some texture. And then the hill levels out right over here. And right about here, there's a nice little hill that's just a little bit off in the distance. It's almost the same value, so I'm just going to round it out right here and go off like that. Okay, and then of course I pull down. You may have to go and grab some more paint. Okay, and that meets right there, so I'm going to pull up just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some water and pull this down. Okay, because it can be a little translucent down here. It's okay. And I'm just going to come in here. I'm grabbing that other color and bringing it to that side. There we go. So now you're ready for the next value. So add a little more black to here. Okay, and this is where it starts to cool down. The color does, okay? So we don't need to add any more yellow to it. So I'm just going to add this right through here, which is an island, and see if that's the value that I want. And it is. I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow. Okay. There we go. And this goes down and up, and then all of a sudden there's this whole bunch of, there's this tree right here. Okay, gotta make sure my value's up enough to see that tree, have some contrast. Okay, and then right through here you can really see these trees, so make your brush go sideways, and you don't have to get super detailed with this. You just have to have enough paint on your brush that it sits there on top, otherwise it'll blend with the background color. And it's gonna go to this point right here. So you can see some of these dark trees right there, and it provides some contrast that it needs at this point. Okay, so that's where you really want to go. And then it comes up above this line. Okay, so you have this mountain with trees on it, and then this out here. Okay, so then I just pull this color down, and because there's colors in the background, it's going to mix with them, and that's going to give you some depth in there, and you want to keep that depth, so you don't want to over mix, but you want to have more contrast right through here. And see how it makes it look like there's trees in there just by having some texture? You just keep that and enjoy that. Okay, and then come in here with this black line right through here and just try to create a little more contrast, because what's going to happen is there's going to be quite a contrast between the color and the color below it. Do you want that? Right? Now you're going to do the same thing on this side. So this island right here and that one are two different ones. So they're not completely connected, or if they're connected, it kind of goes off in the background. This one over here, however, is the same value as this one. So, and it goes like above this mountain back here. So you're gonna start right here, and because it's closer, you have that texture of the trees. I'm gonna have it stop about right here. Okay, so now I'm just gonna pull down like I did before and let some of that color from behind create some texture, some difference. And I'm going to go all the way down right through here and about level with this one, but a little bit, actually a little bit lower. And I'm going to grab some black, come across the bottom, and let that pull out. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and let this dry. Now that it is dry, we can go ahead and start doing the next step. I'm going to grab a nice clean brush, and I'm going to create a buttery yellow. So I'm creating this buttery yellow. Okay, and I'm still using my flat brush. And then back here, I'm going to start by creating a line right there. Okay, and I'm going to pull that line down, but see how I'm not going over all of this right here. Just going to leave a little bit, and then I'm going to come down a little bit more. Okay, that pull on the other side. Right, and pull down, and some of that black will show underneath there, and that's okay. Grab some more paint, and I'm going to go across here. Okay, remember how I said there was going to be a straight line, and we needed that color underneath there? See how it just cleans that up? And I'm just going to fill some of the color right here. Now I'm going to pull this buttery yellow across here, right underneath that little bit of land. And if you need a straight edge to help you, go ahead and grab like something straight, you know, to help make sure that you get a straight line. You're going to pull this all the way across to the other side, going underneath the bottom. You can pull that buttery yellow down. Now you'll notice that you can see some of this gray underneath. Okay, you just have to apply a thicker coat or some more layers. See how I can apply a thick coat and cover that? That same buttery yellow goes right underneath the sun, right through here. And first it starts out just like a little area, and then it spreads so that it's big right through here. Okay, so it's like a long triangle like this. So I'm just going to go across like that. And the reason why I'm going across is because this right through here is going to be blue. Okay, Now what's cool about this is this light color comes out through here, but it gets darker on the outsides as it meets the blue. And you'll see this when you're looking in nature, but you don't see it very often in the photos. So you have to come through here and kind of make a very, I don't know, jaggedy outline of that color. Okay, see how I'm pulling it side to side and letting it be inconsistent? And I'm going to turn my brush around. I'm going to start at that point up there, and again go on the outside here, letting it be inconsistent. Go up a little bit further. Okay. Another thing that you're going to do is you're going to create an in-between stage, all right? And it pulls in some of that light color that's back there. So I just grabbed my white and some of that gray that I'd already made, okay? That's on the yellow side, so I'm going to grab some more yellow. And I'm going to make sure that I don't pull too much of the yellow. Just make it a right in between stage, okay? And then on this outside right here, I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the yellow, just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so I keep that glowing yellow, but this is going to be an in-between stage of the blue coming in once we do the blue. So I'm turning my brush around, just going side to side right there. Okay, and some of it does go in here, so I'm just going to barely touch some of the areas inside, but not very much. So just a few, and these are just those waves that kind of come in here. Okay, just a few of them. And the same thing will happen to it out here. Some of that yellow and white will come out there. So I'll wipe off my brush, grab that buttery yellow. Okay, make sure I have enough on my brush. Come in here with just a few. Make sure you have enough on your brush that it doesn't just blend with the background. Okay, you're going to take your blue and some white, because you don't want it to be that strong of a blue. And right below this line, I'm going to gray it out just a little bit. Okay, right below this line, right here, this yellow line, is the blue that goes across. So really that yellow line is very thin and it's just barely there until it gets to this right here. Okay, so you're gonna go across it like this, blending in those colors. Okay, okay, and you can even pull down if you want, because it doesn't matter, right? And then take lots of that color and add it going across. Okay, and you can let there be streaks in this because that's what's out there. So if you want to copy what's out there, you can leave the streaks. And I like to just pull in some of the blue like that and have some of the lighter blue and the darker blue both right there. Remove this white. There we go. And the same thing over here. There's just this little streak of yellow. Okay, and then it comes in here and blends with this yellow right here and gray. And it's really the color of the sky, but what we'll do is we'll fix the sky. The sky just has one layer on it right now. Okay, so I'm going to worry about this first. Go across like that. Okay, and then what happens right down through here, some of that lemony yellow comes in and just glows off the water. So make sure you have that yellow on your brush, otherwise it'll just look like white. That's what I just did there. So some of that yellow comes through, and that's what I'm going to add right now. Just some of that yellow. Okay, so that should be better lighting. Sorry about that. Okay, so at this point you have all of your underlayer, okay? And what goes on top really makes a difference. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna add some of the layers on top. Okay, so now we're at the last step where we add the final details and the layers on top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of my gold, because the gold or the metallic needs to go on top in order for that shine to come through, okay? And the gold goes on a little bit on the darker side. See how that's darker? So I'm just gonna add that right to the edge here, and that's gonna make it shimmer. And you'll still get to see the blue underneath, and I just pull that over a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to add that gold through here. So there's some shimmer right here down at the bottom. Now I'm going to add a little bit more of a layer of the blue. Coming from the outside, I'm going to just come in here with a darker blue. And then as it comes in, I'm going to add more of a gray blue on top. So I'm just adding a layer, a little more on the gray side, okay, right through here. And going out like that. This kind of blends out as you get closer. There we go. And there's just more layers right through here of yellow kind of receding back into the waves. So I'm going to give it that. Okay, a little bit of the yellow through here. Just to give an idea like, oh, those are waves. Pull some of it out. So you can still see the underlayers of the painting. This just adds a little more dimension into the work. Around the sun, I'm going to just grab a flat dry brush, okay, and I'm going to add that gold that's around the sun. Okay, and then that metallic needs to go in there. And it's going to go on the outside just because it's a little bit of a darker color. See how much darker it is? But I want it to glisten. So I'll add a little bit of the white to it because it's too dark. And it'll still shimmer a little bit, but not as much as down here. Okay, and if you water down your colors, then you can do what's called a glazing technique, okay? And this kind of just spreads the color around, but leaves the underlayer to show. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing with this brush and a little bit of that buttery yellow. Okay, and a lot of water, And I'm just going to glaze over this blue. And it's going to help blend these colors together and give it another added layer. Okay, because this blue isn't that strong. Not in the sky, but we left it that way so we could do this. Okay, and you can even go over the mountains a little bit, see how that works? And then it hazes it down. Okay, and that should blend right in and soften that. Okay, and then I like to do the same thing down here, just soften right through here. Soften those sharp edges. Okay, because this painting's meant to be calm. Side to side. It's just glazing over it. You can even glaze over some of this. Just soften it. You'll still see the texture. Now, if you find that you want to warm up your artwork, like say you just want it to have a warmer yellow, all you have to do is add a little bit of the red to your yellow. And this is just something of personal preference that I'm doing at the end to make the artwork my own, okay? You don't have to do this. Your painting can be done in the last step, okay? And what I'm just doing is I'm adding that warm glaze on top. Okay? And the lesson where I talked about this is for Createful Art members. As always, I want to give a thank you to my Createful Art members who help make these videos possible. You too can become a member and get weekly art lessons and a lot of other fun things from me. So click right over here and become a member today. And check out these other videos right here so that you can learn how to paint.